Good evening. It's Charlotte here from Enriching Environments. It's so great to see you all this evening. Hello. Hello. Thank you all for joining. This is my first ever Instagram Live. So I am feeling a mixture of huge excitement and nerves as well. So we're going to see how this goes, and I really hope you're going to give me lots of feedback afterwards. So let me know how we've got on and what value you've taken from today's session. So today is Top Tip Tuesday. And as I said, this is the first time that I've done Top Tip Tuesday in this format. What I'm going to talk about today is I guess it's a Montessori motto, which is spoken from the perspective of a child, which is help me to do it by myself. And this basically means that we create an environment for our children which allows them to grow into capable human beings, because they have an intrinsic need. Every child all around the world has an intrinsic need to do things for themselves, to learn new skills, and this is an inner guidance system. Every child learns with all five of their senses during the first 6 years of life, and so this learning is automatic, unconscious. That's the word I mean. This learning is unconscious. So what we want to do is make the most of that learning period. So help me to do it by myself is what we're going to talk about today. This means that we are going to give our children everything that they need at their fingertips to grow into capable human beings. And so why is this important? This is important on two levels, and one level is on an individual level, because when we have children who are capable human beings, who are confident in their skills within their family unit. Hello everyone who's just joined. We're just talking about why help me to do it by myself is so important, and we're talking about on an individual level, on a family level. This is really important because children who can do things for themselves, who can learn things at their own pace, these are children who are more content. This being able to master their own skills at their own pace removes a layer of frustration. Of course, there's always going to be frustration with young children, but this removes a layer of frustration. And on a big global scale, a huge scale, a much bigger scale rather than just on our family environment, when we have capable children who feel self-directed and capable at a very young age, then they grow into humans who, into adults who are capable and are confident. And when we all feel confident, we want to raise others up, we want to empower others. And I think in these times when we're talking a lot about elevating consciousness and uplifting other humans and empowering other humans, and particularly at this time at the moment, empowering people, giving our littlest children the skills that they need in order to rise up, just seems more important than ever. So this is why this is my passion, because creating an enriching environment where children can grow into their full potential just seems so what's the word? It seems so important at the moment. And what's really exciting is the smallest thing, like giving our child, I don't know, a jug of water and glasses so they could pour their own glass of water. This is a tiny step, but then grows into bigger things and more confidence and more capability And these children then have their intrinsic sense of self from such a young age that they can't help as they grow. They can't help but want to empower others, and they want other people to feel that they're the way that they're feeling, which is empowered and uplifting others. I see it as like lots and lots of little keys, and through these little keys, that's how we unlock children's potential, our own potential. And wouldn't it be beautiful if we can do this in early childhood? Even before a child is born, we can start to unlock all these little keys for them, so that they grow into the person who they're meant to be. So, moving on, I've had a couple of really good questions since I started promoting this live, and one of them was, so where do I start with creating an enriching environment? There's so much information. Where do I actually start? And my answer to that is just start where you are. Whether your child is still in utero, or your child is 3, or your child is 6, it doesn't matter. Just start where you are. There's a reason that you have come to this moment in time, to this path, in your path of learning and your journey in your life. So we don't need to worry about your path to get here or what happened beforehand. This is where you are now. And the best way I can describe to start to look at this from the perspective of an enriching environment for your child, making everything really, really child-led, is the first thing to do is sit on the floor. So you're at the same height as your child. So you see exactly what is in your child's eye line. And that's a really good place to start, because then you can really see what your child is seeing. Is your child seeing a giant's world where everything that they want is out of reach, or are they seeing things that are within their fingertips? Are they seeing things at their height that are interesting to them, that they can touch, that they can work with, that they can manipulate? So that's the first thing to do. So if you have a toddler or a 3 or 4-year-old, sit down on the floor. If you've got a baby, you're going to need to lie down on the floor, because they're not yet walking, and that's what they can see. And that's just a really interesting thing to do, because when you're lying on the floor, obviously you're going to see the dust under all of the furniture, but equally this is such a great activity to think, okay, what actually is there in my environment, what is there in my home? And my child is going to be on the floor wriggling around or learning to crawl. What can they actually see that's interesting to them? What's enriching to them? And how can they feel included in this family? How can they feel really included and part of, and a valuable member of this family, of this little community, this mini community that is our home? So for a toddler, once a child is walking, things get really interesting, because then their hands are free to work. And that's a line that I used for one of my followers who I worked with for for many years now. And that's one of the first things I said to her, and she thought I was a complete lunatic, I think, when I first said that to her. And I have fond memories of first saying that to her. So yeah, when a child starts to walk, then they have both their hands free to work. So then you can do really, really exciting things. So they can start pouring their own water and doing things like that. They can go and get a tissue from the tissue box and look in the mirror and wipe their nose and all of those things. And as I said, these are really, really tiny things in the environment that seem of such little importance to us as adults, because we do them habitually, we do them even unconsciously. But to a child, they make such a huge, huge, huge difference. So the answer to the question is, where do I start? So sit on the floor and see what your child can see. And you're going to look around your room and you're going to think, okay, what shelf can I designate to something really, really simple? That is fulfilling their basic needs. Think about just fulfilling their basic needs. So so they can pour a glass of water, so that they can blow their nose. So as I mentioned before, it's a jug of water and some glasses, a box of tissues and a mirror. Just add those 4 things to start with so they can fulfill their basic needs. Then my second suggestion would be a few items that they can work within their environment. And by work, I mean they can have a spray bottle of water and a cloth so that they can wipe the floor if they make a spill. They spill their water, they're going to want to wipe it up so that they can wipe the floor or the shelf. A dustpan and brush, a little feather duster if you have one, a small mop and a small broom. So all of these things are what you probably have already in your home. Most people have got a dustpan and brush, right? Most people have got some cloths that you can use to put in a basket so that your child can wipe up a spill. So these are the very, very beginnings of an enriching environment, and something that we can set up to give our child basic capability, skills and confidence, which builds and builds and builds and builds. And then the third thing I'd say you could add would be a shelf or a little cupboard in your kitchen where they can prepare their own snack. So a little chopping board and a child-sized knife. That's all you need to do to start with, and just again to give them that sense of power in their world. This becomes really important in the toddler age, actually, because as I'm sure you know, those of you who have toddlers, they really want to have they really have a need to feel power over their world. Our children are very, very passive, and we have to micromanage them, as it were, for their own safety. And we have to go to the supermarket, and we have to take them to all these other things. We have all these things going on in an adult world that they don't necessarily want to do, but they have to do anyway because they're children and they've got to come along with us. So what happens is frustration can build up. But when they're in their home environment, if we can give them control over a few simple things, that really, really helps them to remove a layer of frustration and helps them feel empowered and helps them have control over their world. You know, we all want to have control over our world. None of us like being pushed from pillar to post and being micromanaged the whole time. And it's the same for children, and they don't have a choice either. So this is really, really valuable to help them feel more in control of their environment and help them become more self-directed as well. Oh yes, the second question, just looking at my notes, is my child is now 3 and I've missed, hello to everyone who just joined, my child is 3, so you know, surely I'm too late. I'm 3 years into this parenting journey. You know, what on earth do I do? How do I approach this? Because I've only just come to it. And my answer to that would be, well, it's fantastic to be coming into this as a 3-year-old because your child is verbal. Your child is pretty fluent now. So the great thing is that your 3-year-old child will actually be telling you very, very clearly what they need. There's no more guesswork like there is for a 1 and a 2-year-old, for example. Your 3-year-old will be telling you very, very clearly what they need, where their needs are, what they want to do, and they will be very vociferous, I would imagine, on occasions on what they want to do. So our role at this stage for the older child is where, as they say very clearly they want to do something, and they will protest very loudly if you don't let them do it. And our role, as what I see, is how can we make that accessible then? How can they do what they need to do in a safe way, or in a way that works for them? How can we meet them where they are? So let's use the example of getting dressed. My son is just turned 3 last month, and he is fully into getting dressed for himself, getting changed, maybe 8-10 times a day. And it's funny because I know this is a stage around a 3-year-old that they're having this intense need to get changed a lot and change their clothes, and they're putting shoes on and off and socks on and off and all this thing. What's really, really funny is I thought this was going to be a short stage, but my daughter, who's almost 5.5, is still getting changed 10 times a day and producing huge amounts of washing. But it's all part of the fun, isn't it? So let's use the example, as I said, of a 3-year-old who really, really wants to get dressed for themselves. So we can start by the physical environment. And as I said, sit on the floor, look in their bedroom or wherever it is you have their wardrobe. Is their wardrobe accessible? Can they take what they need? How much stuff is in their wardrobe? Is there too much? I would recommend only having 2 or 3 t-shirts, 2 or 3 pairs of shorts or skirts or leggings or whatever it is they wear on their bottom half, so that they have a very limited choice, so that they don't go in there and get completely confused, distracted, and end up throwing everything on the floor, which is what will happen if there's too much stuff there. So the first thing is, make it accessible for them. And this applies to everything, but I'm just using an example of getting dressed. So make it accessible for them. What can they handle? What really can they manage? So they've gone in and they've chosen their t-shirt and their shorts or whatever it might be. And then they're going to need, as part of this process, some of your time to help them learn how to get dressed. And they're going to need a lot of practice. And the great thing is that because it's all at their height, they can have that practice. If they want to get dressed 8 times a day, changed and redressed 8 times a day, they can. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Rather than having to ask you every time, can I have this? Can I have that? So again, as I was saying before, that removes the level of frustration. If they've got what they need at their fingertips, then they may need to come and ask you because they've got one arm stuck. They do one sleeve and then the other one, has gone around the back or something, and they can't manage that last bit. But it's these little bits of help which we offer at a crucial moment, if you like, so that they can get to the next stage. And with dressing, that might be they've got one arm in and they can't get the other sleeve in, they're stuck. So we just sort of hold the sleeve out so they can push their arm through. We don't take over and then finish the whole dressing and then put their shorts on and everything else. We just give that tiny bit of help so they can still come away from that interaction of having that feeling, I did it by myself, that intrinsic sense of power that we can all get, that we only get from achieving something from ourselves rather than external validation. So in answer to the question, like where do I start with a 3-year-old, it's really, really exciting because they have so many skills, age 3. They, I'm a bit biased because every age is exciting. From 0 to 6 is really exciting for me, every age, but particularly a 3-year-old because they are so capable. They can dress themselves. They obviously can feed themselves. They can prepare a lot of food, actually. The snack preparation, they can lay the table, they can water the plants, they can sweep and mop the floor. And all of these little things are available at their fingertips in your home, so that they can just help themselves to what they need. They'll find their own flow and their own rhythm, and you'll notice actually as you start to change your environment that they get into their own rhythm. So after breakfast they'll have an intense mopping session or something, which is what my son does. His thing is he'll mop everywhere in the house after breakfast. That's just his vibe at the moment. So that's how we can support them. And let me just see if I've got any more questions. And in terms of setting up the environment itself, what's really, really great is we don't necessarily have to do any formal instruction or teaching about this. The best example we can set, or the best thing we can do, is just role model. So once you have your basket of cloths and your spray bottle set up, and once you have your dustpan and brush set up, when you see a spill or some dust on the floor, then you can just go over and use a dustpan and brush and pop it in, contents in the bin, and do things for real, because that's what they're going to be doing it for real. So it's not, you don't need to tell them what to do, just show them in a very, very natural way. And then you can put the cloth in a little basket for dirty cloths, or if it's close enough, they can just put it straight in the washing machine or the linen basket. So it's a very natural way. It's not I'm going to do this and you're going to do this and you're going to copy me and that's how it's going to work. It's a very, very natural way of being. It's them being an active participant in home life, and us just continuing with our flow and our rhythm of home life, and them being part of that. And through that, they get this really beautiful intrinsic sense that they do belong, and they know where their place is in our world, in their family, in their world. It's something that can't, I guess it's intangible. It's certainly not measurable, that's for sure. It's just something that they can feel, that's very, very powerful. And then us as parents or caregivers or educators, when we're in the classroom, we can see our children rise up, really, really rise up in that way, because they are developing this intrinsic sense of self. So let me see if there's anything else in my questions that I had. And hello to anyone who's joined. And I just wanted to reiterate a couple of things. The first thing is the big secret about early childhood, and particularly actually the whole of early childhood, is that children want to do things for themselves, by themselves. They want to learn new skills. They don't want to be passive, they want to be active. This is part of their this is part of our DNA, I guess. It's part of their inner guidance system. So all we need to do is set up the environment, let them see what we are doing, and then they will do the same when they are ready. And I hope, what are we doing timing wise? I thought I was going to be about 20 minutes, and in true Charlotte style, I've been 25 minutes and I've waffled a bit. But I hope you'll forgive me, and I hope this gives you a small insight into enriching environments. And I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to do these regularly. Maybe this will be a Top Tip Tuesday feature, or maybe it can be something else. I'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions. If you're not already following me, then please do follow me, and put your comments, send your comments and your requests and your messages to me. And thank you all for joining me. I feel really, really honoured that I've had so many people watching this morning for my first one. And I will... Is there anything else I need to say? Other than thank you so much. Bye-bye, friends. I'm about to post my poem for today, and I very much look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.